and Samson. Now I want to talk about Dan Sheekoz. And full disclosure, I was subscribed to that channel for some years. I found it interesting, but I always wondered about the channel. How did he function in that country where Vladimir Putin sort of owns what you do? You know, they do not have freedom of speech. They don't have freedom of the press. It's a real problem. Now, there's been I've done videos talked about 1420. I've talked about Svetlana in Russia. I've talked about other channels. But the channel that I mostly know is Dan Sheekoz, because those videos I've watched more of. But I was making the observation that a lot of the Russian channels, sort of when the war started, went into propaganda. And, you know, that's what it appears to me. Like, all they talk about is sanctions. Well, Dan has been doing other things, okay, recently. He did some shorts or some live streams where what he was celebrating. And that's his last one, was like, big day, I'm celebrating, you know. And I find it interesting that he could be celebrating anything, considering what's going on in the Ukraine. And it's come to my attention, and full disclosure, this is hearsay, because I did not subscribe to his Telegram account, and I won't. One of the reasons why I will not subscribe to a Telegram account, it's like, you know, the messenger isn't private, you know, it doesn't have like a privacy thing. It's not encrypted. It's not a good thing to be on Telegram. You're taking your own, you know, buyer beware. Now, Telegram is a lot like Facebook. You can follow somebody, or you can subscribe to them, or you can join. I believe if you join, you're going to have to give them a credit card number. That's your decision to make. I wouldn't even go on that platform. Okay, so you don't have to say, this is where I live and this is my credit card for them to get some information about you. I wouldn't do it. Google, safe. You know? YouTube, it's safe. As safe as it can be. Use common sense. Don't open up attachments in your, you know, anybody sends you an attachment, don't open it up. But it's fairly safe. Telegram, I don't see as safe. Now, on the 26th of February, he came out and said, you know, this is, you know, right when the war's starting. I don't know what's going to happen, so I'm opening up a Telegram account so that you guys can keep in touch with me. Now, he said that on the 26th. It was almost like he was, you know, the Russian government has blocked them. It isn't that, like, say YouTube has not blocked the Russians. They can still get on, but they're not going to be monetized, okay? So Dan can't be monetized. The Russian government blocked Facebook and Twitter. It wasn't the US government. Okay, so there's some stuff spread that it's just plain lies and it's not correct. There has been some things on Twitter that changed, that, like, you could say something derogatory about Putin. Okay? But I digress. Just understand that it was not Facebook that blocked the Russians, but that's what the Russians are being told. It was Russia that blocked the Russians. Now, there's some Russians that would have VPNs. It's not legal to have a VPN. So anytime you see somebody like Dan, who's on his Instagram saying, yeah, my VPN's still working, beware. That is a sign that he's working with, I believe, this is my own personal opinion, that he would be working with the government, and they're telling him what to say, because you can't, in Russia, you can't say, I got a VPN. Okay, they'll just show up to your house. Okay, you won't have your VPN for very long. They don't want you to get information from the West. That's just how it is. So anytime you see you'll see that lately. You'll see like who was that one Russian YouTuber? Attractive woman. They use a lot of attractive women. What they do is they sort of suck you in like we're just like you, like us. Dan's like the Family Guy. He's supposed to play like I'm the everyday Joe, but he makes more than the everyday Russian Joe for sure. So there's none of that. And his English has been good from day one. And he says that he's learned English by watching movies. Oh, really? Well, did you learn how to write in English too? Because he can write in English too. So he's been playing this whole game like, I can't really speak English, I learned it from the movies, but then he's writing in English and he can read in English, so it doesn't really add up. None of it adds up. That's my opinion, okay? So I know that there's a lot of people that were watching the channel and got suckered in, they had a kid, and they just, it's like when you watch YouTube, like you don't really know me, but I'm looking at the camera so you connect. And you think that, oh, I like Peter, you think I'm one way, but I really might not be. And especially if you're just watching, well, I'm doing shit all the time, so, and I don't really care what people think about me. That's just how I am. I sort of grew up at a point and was like, fuck it. This is who I am. If you don't like me, I don't really care. You're having this connection with me. It's like a psychological thing. Like you believe that you're connecting with me and that it's one-on-one, but it's not really one-on-one. I'm talking to a lot of people and I don't really even know who you are. So you can make this judgment if you want. You can make this jump of like, oh, he thinks like me. Oh, that's exactly what I was thinking. That's fine, but it should be buyer beware. And if you're watching somebody in another country that is, using platitude, refers to the his audience as the adorables, it's just a little bit over the top and phony. Okay, that's the way I was taking it, and as soon as the war started, things changed. He started doing things about the sanctions. Well, just recently, I know he's got a lot of bad press. Okay, I'm one of them. Because things weren't making sense. It just doesn't make sense. And so he's put out some stuff on YouTube, some shorts and some live stream, whatever. And it's all pretty much like happy-go-lucky with the baby. Now, that to me even seems suspicious. Like, let's just make everything... I mean, my God, you're in a war. You're in a war, okay? Your country invaded another country. And he's going to go on like, everything's great, we're celebrating today. It just reeks to me. It reeks to me. Okay? He would know. He said he had a VPN. He would know what's going on. But now, like I said, this is hearsay because I won't join his Telegram or even go on Telegram. But what I'm told by multiple people is, and it's the same thing, that he is putting out this propaganda about like the Ukrainians and that they're there to like save the Ukrainians and like the pictures that are coming out of like they're all staged. He's repeating what the Kremlin wants him to repeat. So I understand that it would be, God, my eyes, hang on. I understand it'd be difficult to live in that country, and I wouldn't want to live in that country. I would have left a long time ago. I would have left as soon as the, borders got porous. I would have been gone. Like, I'm sorry, but as soon as the wall came down, I would have been out of there. Yeah, enough of like waiting in a bread line to eat. Maybe you lived there for a long time, and you're thinking, well, maybe it's going to get better, and I think it was. But then Putin got in office, and he made it very clear what he wants it to be. He wants it to be like the former Soviet Union. And he wants all those countries back. He wants to turn it back into Mother Russia. And I think that's absurd. Now, the Ukraine has a longer history than Russia, okay? They do. Very, very old, that town of Kiev. Sorry, excuse me. I guess it's not really fair to say they have a longer history of Russia. Um, when you talk about history, let's just consider it the history of man. Leave the politics out of this and the borders out of it. Doesn't really make any sense. I just cleaned Sammy's room, so there's a little bleach that's getting my eyes. That's stuff for dry eye. And so he's saying all this stuff on this Telegram account. It's clearly propaganda. Now, there are so many people that follow this channel. I was following the channel, but are so sucked into it. They're so, it's hard to admit you're wrong. That's clear. I could bring up politics. Let's just talk about politics real quick. It's difficult for a person that votes for somebody to ever admit that the person is doing a bad job. And usually when people vote for somebody and then somebody wins, they don't even want to look at the news. They don't want to believe anything that's negative. That's just how it is. Imagine the feeling when you find out that the person that you vote for lost. So on the other side, if your guy wins and your guy's a creep, you're just gonna believe everything that is said. Now, we live in a great country, we really do. We're lucky to live in the United States of America, definitely. We have freedom of speech. As an artist, I can say whatever I want. I did a show about our last president that if I would have done it in Moscow, I would have been arrested and put in jail. But I have freedom of speech. I can say and do as I please. And that is really a great thing. I gotta turn this fan on. So, thank your lucky stars if you live in the United States or the UK, any of these democratic countries, and you don't live in like a fake democracy like Russia, because that's definitely not a democracy. That's not a democracy. They might claim it, or they did claim it in the past. I don't know what they're claiming now, but anytime you have somebody running for political office and the opponent gets, it's sort of proven fact that if you say anything against Putin, you might get poisoned with radiation, Novichok. You just can't do it. They went into the UK and went after the Skripal family, because he was an spy, right? And he wanted to get revenge. So they poisoned him with Novichok, I believe. And that's only made, it's got a signature, and the signature is that it's made from Russia makes it. So we are very, very lucky. I just, when you see somebody on YouTube like these Russian channels, they're trying to sell something. Like I'm trying to sell something, I'm trying to sell dog training, right? I want people to realize that my dog training method is the proper method, and it's the best way to train a dog, and it's less stress on your dog, and you'll have a healthy, happy dog. So I am trying to sell that. But on the same hand, I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you what you wanna hear. So I'm not gonna sell something that I believe doesn't work. Like I'm not going to sell training food with your dog, because there's things associated with training with your dog with food that are just not positive at all. It's not going to be helpful. So there's a lot of people that really don't care. Look, I can have a piece of food and the dog will sit, and it's easy for the person on YouTube to do that, right? Ask yourself, how many dog trainers do you see that actually live stream dog training? There's not a lot. I do. I don't know if anybody else is doing it, honestly. Like actually working with a dog, like I'm going to train the dog to go through the weave pulse. This is how you do it. I'm going to train the dog to heel. This is how you do it. So I am trying to sell something. I'm trying to be as honest as possible. I'm just trying to be myself. But when you're on YouTube, you run into all different kinds of personalities, and some of them are trying to be as honest as possible. Some are, that's who they are, and some some people, like, that's not who they are. Like, people have asked me, like, who am I really seeing here? You know, because I do make fictional and non-fictional work. And it really doesn't matter, it's me, you're seeing me. But when you live in a country like Russia, where, you know, if you want to have a YouTube channel, you have to comply. You have to comply and do what they say. Now, I don't know this for sure, but I'm sure everybody with a YouTube channel over there got a form letter that said, we need you to open up a Telegram account, and right now when sanctions are going on, we need you to do this many videos weekly on the sanctions and how they're hitting you. And that's been the approach, is that, like, they want to say, like, this is so unfair, you know, and then you know, Dan is saying, you know, how America's hypocritical. And then there's even trolls, of course, that come and say stuff underneath the videos that I make. And some of them are certainly in St. Petersburg, and some of them are probably fans that he has here that are so sucked into it. They're so, like, I'm not going to use the term brainwashed. That doesn't, you know, it's like George Orwell's 1984. You hear something, you want to believe it, and you don't want to say, this isn't true. You see somebody behaving a certain way, but in the back of your mind, you're saying, no, 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 that can't be true. It's a lot, and I think that's a human condition, that you want to believe the best of people, that people wouldn't do something like that. But, you know, people do that anyway in everyday life, but people in Russia, they have to do that to stay alive. They have no other options. If they say something against Putin, they go to jail. If they even say the word war, they go to jail. So there's an incentive to do this. And you, the viewer, that you're seeing that, you're like, no, he's a good guy. He's a really good guy. He's a family guy. He has a kid. He has a wife. There's a lot of people with kids and wives that aren't necessarily, I don't want to say, I don't know, but he has blinders on at the very least. So he's in denial about what's going on in Ukraine. Now, there's people in this country that certainly are, like, similar for whatever reason. I can think of somebody, a past political person that is pro-Russia. And at this point, it's sort of hard to be pro-Russia when you see children being bombed. And it's so clear to me that it isn't staged. We have, embedded over there in that country, we have news agencies from all around the world, and they want to report the news factually. So you have all these news agencies that are saying one thing, but then you have Russia saying it's staged. Who are you going to believe? It sounds familiar, doesn't it? Putin's saying it's fake news, and everybody else in the world is saying, look, these are atrocities, these are war crimes, right? And you want to believe the one person. That's your choice. That's your choice. But it seems like a foolish move. I'm not going to do that. It never made sense to me when I heard the term fake news. And still, to this day, I still hear the man saying it's fake news. Anytime it's anything that is derogatory about him, and it sounds like it's true, he says it's fake news. That is like psychological warfare, that is like propaganda, that is misleading information. You keep pounding it in, telling the person that voted for you that don't listen to him, listen to me. I'm not lying to you, I'd never lie to you. That's how they do it. There's even this thing that even when somebody's telling something that's factual and they want you to believe it, they'll say it twice. You would see other politicians, Clinton, Obama, you'll see them say something like, your taxes will not go up. Your taxes will not go up, right? Or something like that. That was a bad example, of course, because our taxes need to go up, especially if you're super rich. But do you see the point that I'm trying to make? It's like if you say it, you know, that's like, clicks into the psyche, and you just, you know, it's hard to say that it isn't true because you've heard it and you've heard it twice. It's been reinforced. So even if, right, you hear something nasty about somebody and you're like, well, that doesn't sound right, it puts this question in the back of your mind. So even if the person says, well, that's not true, that's not true, you already have that in the back of your mind, right? So it's difficult to sort of shake. I get it. And this is all stuff that's based on scientific fact. I hate to say it, but it is. So there's a lot of studies done with this and how people respond when they hear something. When you hear the stimulus over and over again, you start believing it. Look at Stockholm syndrome, same thing. The captor has the person, and the person that is being forced into the situation after a certain amount of time starts seeing it the same way as the captor. That's just how it is. They start like seeing themselves as like, it's us against them. It's sad but true. It is. It's sad but true. But I hear the stuff coming out of Dan's Telegram account from yesterday. It's horrendous. It was no doubt that it was going to happen. YouTube is taking a different approach. He's celebrating, which I don't know how you could celebrate anything. But his last two videos were like, he didn't, it was all about celebration and pictures of the baby. Okay? So you have a baby, that's innocent. The baby's not doing anything, right? The baby's not doing a thing. Don't get suckered in. It's horrible what's going on in Ukraine. Keep your eyes open. If it's, I don't want to sound too much like I'm the propagandist, but if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Meaning, if Russia says that they're going to get out of there, they probably have no intentions of getting out of there. If they say that they're retreating, they probably have something other in mind. They're probably not retreating, they're probably regrouping. You can't trust Putin. You can't trust somebody that runs a country that tells his military to bomb children. And Dan, as a father, how can he be celebrating anything? You have a kid, and he has clearly no empathy. And you can't say that he doesn't know. He clearly knows because he said that he had a VPN. How could he not know? He chooses one side or the other. He chooses this side, and you'll see that. Like polls coming out of Russia, it's like 75% of the population thinks Putin's great, and they believe that, it's really happening. I see it on my channel. People saying that, like the Ukrainian president is not really Jewish, only a name. I'm like, give me a break. Was his mother Jewish? Well, he's Jewish then. Horrible, just a horrible situation. Okay, I'll stop talking about that. What's going on? I thought the same thing about his post about celebrating. I don't know why his garbage is showing up, but I didn't read it and I'm not a sub. What's up? What's up, Shirley? Ow, I'm gonna sit down. I'm like sort of squatting. Sit down like a normal person. Sam, why don't you get up on your thingamabob? I gotta work the dogs in a little bit. Is it? It's not a beautiful day outside here. It's cold. It's gonna be nice the rest of the week. So I'm all fine with it. Ow. I got the most important thing on my list was to do Sam's room, and I got that done. Sammy, why don't you get up there? He's sitting down here being a douche. I got other stuff to do today, though. I don't know if I'm going to live stream the dogs today. Probably will, but I might not, as I really need to yeah, the maternity hospital. Well, it's not just the maternity hospital. How about the train station? The train station with the cluster bomb, where they wrote on it, "This is for the kids," or "This is for the children." Outrageous. Outrageous. But they have a whole history of doing this. And I'll tell you something, there's a lot of people that, they bring up Iran and Iraq. That's a false equivalency. It's not even close. When our military does something, they own up to it, okay? If they bombed a family by accident, they pay the family. They do. And it's really, we use smart bombs, smart technology so that is not a thing. If anybody did something horrible, they're going to be tried. They are going to be tried. But in like the Navy SEAL that was tried, Putin pardoned him. Or not Putin, sorry, Trump. Trump pardoned him. So, your country is only as good as who's running it. So in that case, man, there were, it was clear that Navy SEAL guy did it, and he was pardoned by our president. But generally speaking, we have a U.S. president. They're not going to pardon somebody that has done some kind of atrocity during war. If say we have a news agency that puts something in the news that is incorrect, they post a retraction. You will never see that in Russia because it's all fake. I hate to say that because, see, you're saying it's fake. You just said if somebody says it's fake, don't believe them. You understand what I'm saying, right? Our democracy is sort of built around the fact that we have free press. So if somebody's doing something and the press finds out about it, we're going to hear about it. So that's, The Russian propaganda channels, some of them are better than others. Some of them are smarter than others, how they're produced. Some of them, they try and suck you in with the attractive women. But there's all this sort of like me, right? Like me, I'm Russian, I'm just like you. Here were the creative Russian sisters that play music on a farm. It's all that. But, when you start hearing them talking about sanctions, oh man, Dead 420, I did a bunch of different things on that channel, and that channel is less obvious, right? Because they're going out and they're interviewing people. So he says he has a VPN. He's even advertising for a VPN. But he's not legally able to have a VPN. And then in one of them, he says, some people said some crazy stuff here. I don't know what's going to happen to them. They might get in trouble. But I'm using subtitles, so they're not actually saying it. Well, that doesn't cut it. If you have somebody saying something negative about Putin or saying something about the war and using the word war, they're going to show up at your house and they want the original footage. So 1420 is clearly propaganda. Clearly. They couldn't walk around Moscow without a minder. There's no way. Asking people questions like that. And a lot of the people say, I don't want to talk, which sort of makes it real. I don't want to say anything bad about Putin. I'm not going to talk, and they walk away and they put them on video. That makes it more real. They have to make it real. So 1420 is just, it's a little bit different. It appears to be propaganda to me. And if you, I've always said the average IQ is 100. 100 is not real smart. And the thing about propaganda is, I don't think that it necessarily is stupid people that believe propaganda. I know I'm thinking of this friend of mine right now that is like real smart, went to Stanford. Both her and her husband went to Stanford, and they really get sucked into propaganda easy. Like during the elections or before the elections, man, they were all about Bernie and everything, and they were repeating stuff that Trump people were saying about Biden. It was all bullshit, but they were repeating it and they believed it. And if I said, "Hey, look, why are you saying that?" and try to explain, she would get pissed off. You try and tell the person like, "Hey, look, this really isn't true." It's a certain mindset. It doesn't have to do with somebody's IQ. It's how it's presented and what the person wants to think. So if you watch the film about 9/11 and how there's no way that the building could have collapsed, you're going to believe it and you're going to believe the conspiracy. But there is a way. It's clear how it happened. Have you ever seen one of these like furnaces that you make to heat stuff up? Like you could take bricks, right? And you can create a chamber, okay? And at the bottom of the chamber, you build a fire. That causes a lot of heat by having it funneled up like this. And that's what happened with the towers, is that the plane went into it, the fuel dumped down into the center of the tower, caught on fire, and then so they had like this, one of those. It was extremely hot. It caused the steel to fail. There's a lot of weight on that steel, and as soon as it gets hot and starts softening up, it's gonna fail, and that's what happened. So, but if you want to believe that like Bush did it or Cheney did it, one of those, you're gonna find somebody that's gonna tell you that, and they'll present it in such a way that you'll believe it. To me, it always seemed outrageous. Like, why would he have done that? Oh, so they could go over there and get the oil. Sounds a little extreme to me. It does. Yeah, it's like a burner. That's right. So it just didn't add up. I never really saw it like that. Yes, was there bullshit to go over there? You betcha. Was it the Twin Towers being hit by us? No, it's nonsense. It is nonsense. You are correct. It's just nonsense. But people still believe it to this day. And then once they hear it, it's hard to convince them anything other than that. Those are the same people. I like them. I like them a lot. But they also believe that we really didn't land on the moon. So they're already like suggestible. Like they already have like this suggestible mind. It really doesn't have anything to do with IQ. It has to do with like, some people can be hypnotized and some people can't. To be hypnotized, you'd probably be a person that like you think you can be hypnotized. Good luck trying that crap with me. I don't want to do it in the first place, and I'm not going to cluck like a chicken. You're not going to get me to cluck like a chicken. So some minds are more suggestible than others, and I don't know why that is, but it's clear that it's just true. But the Russian channels, they all seem to have this sort of thing. And remember that, like I think about Dan's channel. I talk about Dan's channel a lot because I know that channel better. But it is weird, like this shift that he did, like everything's okay, because he's been getting a lot of bad press, He's been getting on, there's a mirror on the moon with a strong laser. I don't know anything about that. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, there's a conspiracy that there's an alien base on the dark side of the moon. We had astronauts that, say they saw stuff, so maybe there is. Maybe there's a alien base in the interior of the sun. People keep talking about that, and I had an experience with dreams from, 30 years ago or whatever. So, There were dreams, so I was sleeping when it happened. But, you know, we have telescopes that reach the sun and watch the sun, and there's stuff coming out of them, and they're saying, well, this is an anomaly, it's a digital anomaly. Well, okay, it might be, but it looks sort of weird. So there might be this thing, well, we don't want to get people worried. I mean, clearly there's UFOs coming here. That's sort of like a given now, after our government came out and said, yeah, we don't know what they are, you know. NASA did this with Apollo. What, they put a mirror up there? Did they? We have a small, like it's not the space shuttle, it's a smaller version, unmanned version, circling the Earth, and it does about 2 years before it comes down. Nobody knows what it's doing up there. That's conspiracy on my part. YouTube's been really glitchy for me lately. I've been having trouble live streaming out in the back. Not all the time. In here it's pretty good. I don't know if I have my Wi-Fi on right now, to tell you the truth. So I turn it off when I'm out there. But, you know, because it doesn't work. So you turn it off and then just run off with a AT&T or whatever it is. Your Sprint, your whoever it is. It's the best way to do it, I've found. Yeah, conspiracy is a weird thing. It's like, some of it's interesting, some of it's bullshit. You know, I was hearing that, like the Marilyn Monroe conspiracy, they talk about that. You know, there's a lot of theories about that. You know, with JFK or Bobby had her snuffed, or who snuffed her. Clearly, they were wiretapping her, right? They wiretapped her. You know, supposedly she had said something in regards of either Bobby or John took her to go see space stuff, top secret space stuff. We don't know what that was. Who knows? Who knows? But it's all sort of like there's a lot of conspiracies. The conspiracy of the pharmaceutical companies, that's a huge one. The bullshit about the vaccines, there's one. I don't know. It's Sam, my Raven. It's doing good. It sends laser back to Earth. Oh, Alex Jones. Yeah, there's a perfect example of Mr. Conspiracy himself, who would say anything to make people believe his conspiracy, which is absurd. I mean, kids died during that thing, you know. But, well, you see Putin's army is bombing children, civilians. He had no problem with it. Like zero. It's, his best buddy. It just seems like part of war with them. It's like part of how they deal with the enemy. It's like, well, we attack the women and children. Like, we'll get payback like that. It's not really a good approach. And I'll tell you something else, this approach of just decimating the country, just making it so that there's no more buildings left. All those things need to be, you know, even if Russia got it, like the cost would be. But I think it sort of appears like they just want the Ukrainian people gone. That's how it sort of appears. There's so much antiquity in that country too. It's a shame. Stuff's getting destroyed right and left. You see some of the architecture. But, I mean, if you had your choice of like, what's up, Toxic? Like if you had your choice, okay, Putin, you can bomb either antiquity or bomb these apartment buildings that hold thousands of people in them. Take out the, 600-year-old building. Take out the castle. Let the people have their homes. That's just sort of the way I see it. Like, you know, people need their homes. Art and shit, like, it's important. It's important, but, you know, what's more important? There's survival of the people and some place to live and be safe. Hi Sam, how you doing? Oh yeah, there's all that. Can you imagine, like, it'd be like here, like, there's people buried in my backyard. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, my neighbor they didn't want to put their relatives in their backyard, so you can take a, you know, you can put them back there. Where'd we bury them? Up there at the school. Somebody had dug a trench and then you just put them in there and they're filled over. All the people that are in the trenches that, like, you know, maybe nobody will ever know if they actually were in the trench and died. Like, there'd be like this, maybe they're alive, which would be really difficult, especially if it was a child. I don't think that they're having the time to take DNA swabs or anything. Is that right? Where do you live, John? What country are you in? It's a fucked up thing, isn't it? You know, it's after what Putin's done lately. I don't see it's possible. Austria, that's right. I heard about him. I heard about Dan's rant against Westerns. I heard about it, and several people said the exact same thing. So I assume that it was correct. But after they've done this, like bomb children, you know, even wrote on a bomb for the kids. They're bombing a building that says, like, kids out front. You can see it. Bombing apartment buildings, people's homes. I just really don't see any choice to, you know, Putin shouldn't get anything. He should not get Crimea, the Donbass or whatever it is. He shouldn't get any of that. He needs to go and get out. So, and I don't think the Ukrainian people are going to be like, oh yeah, we'll belly up. I don't think that's going to happen. You know, if they've bombed one thing on Russian soil so far, I say so far, they're going to have to do something. Does Switchblade 300, I think, one of those drones, the sort of pocket kamikaze drones, goes 160 miles. The other one goes 45 miles. Maybe the 300 goes 45 miles, but then the other one goes 160. So you could pull up close to Russia, get it over the border. So they sent helicopters for that one thing. You know, for the oil refinery that they went after, they went in there with helicopters. It was ballsy. I think one of the aspects with some of the drones technology is they don't want Russia to get it. In particular those, like the kamikaze drones, they don't want Putin to have those. But we're always going to be one step ahead of him, so even if he does get them, we'll figure out some way that he won't get them. I haven't thought, this is my warlike mind, like, okay, give him one, right? Make sure it doesn't explode, so he has it, and then take it in to wherever, and then let it go. I don't know. Like, could you? No, I don't know. They probably know what they were doing. It wouldn't be that simple. Like, oh, you know. But I mean, Ukrainian civilians are dying. You certainly don't want to attack Russian civilians because then you're playing his game. But you certainly can attack anything in Russia that has to do with military or oil, anything like that. That is fair game. They just have to be careful. But if Ukraine has smart technology that we're giving them, they could get away with it. You know, it's windy out and cold. I have to work with the dogs, of course. I just don't really want to live stream out there. So I think I'm going to wait until tomorrow to live stream with the dogs. Man, Baby is doing great. Baby is rocking out. I worked there yesterday and she sort of snapped too. When I saw her, she was excited, and the owner was traveling with her. I got to talk to her owner. That was a stupid move. Like, in the front of the car, like, not in a crate. Always put your dog in a crate when in a car. One, if you're in an accident, that dog is dead, okay? Dog's dead. The airbag's not gonna work, your dog's dead, and you're probably gonna die too. Real bad move. Your dog needs to go in a crate in a car, always. Also, you'll avoid behavioral problems with your dog. So when she comes out, you know, the owner, like, because it's like that, and the dog's sitting against her, pushing against her, she's sort of like petting the dog the whole time, no matter what. The dog comes out, the dog's real excited. Dog's like, no, I'm going back in. Right? Very common. Remember, excitement is the point. All dogs make a mistake. They bark, lunge, bite, or just don't listen. And a dog that is, you know, flips into like dominant traits, most dogs do that. That's like, I'm not going to listen. You want me to do that? You want me to go with him? I'm not going with him. I'm going with you. As soon as I got the dog away from the mom, she's behaving totally normal. So they work with the dog, but I think they're making a few mistakes. That was a mistake, clearly. Put the dog in a crate, but she snapped right too. She was great, no problems. That's what I want to see, is a dog that like understands my language still. So it's always a positive thing for a dog to come back, and then when they come back from their trip to Africa, if I could work with them again for a few days, that would be awesome. So they got to drive up here. Hopefully they'll spend a few days up here somewhere, and we could go over some stuff again. So that's great. I'll tell you, I remember Bowser. Bowser left. He was about a 5.5-month-old doodle, right? So Bowser left, and like he was, here's something. If the dog is non-compliant, do not laugh, okay? And there were people in the hotel room. He was being non-compliant, and some of the owners were laughing. I'm like, don't do that. It's very important, because when you laugh, they think that they're doing something good. They don't think. They're responding like, oh, okay, this is what they want. Don't do that. So Bowser was leaving. He's being non-compliant on some stuff. He's about 5.5 months old. So he came back for a second board and train, because the owner took him home and sort of screwed up doing other stuff too. Like the first thing that they did was took the dog out. Instead of listening to me, let the dog decompress in a crate. What did they do? They took the dog to a pet store with the kids. They have kids involved. A bunch of people were petting him, and he just said, yeah, I should have listened to you. It didn't go well. So he did a second board and train. When that dog left on a second board and train, it's functioning great. For the owner, the dog was great. Sometimes it takes a couple for the owner to pick the shit up, and because the dog has been around the owner sort of fucking up, just retrain the dog and then work with the owner again. So a few times I've done that. Micah, how many times? Micah was here, and I did several board and trains, but he was here from Taiwan, so it was sort of set up that way. You know, get as much done with Micah as I can. God, I love that dog. Beautiful, beautiful Cocker Spaniel. Mila might have done too. I don't know what's going on with them. I know what's going on with them. They're Cocker Spaniels. A lot of people saw me train the Cocker Spaniels and thought that they're an easy dog to train. They're not. It's a honey dog. I'm considering getting a custom plush of my childhood dog when I have made money to do it. I was up last night missing my childhood day. I've been missing Ike. You know they make bobbleheads? Did you know that? They make bobbleheads. You can have custom bobbleheads done of yourself. I didn't know that. I thought it was sort of a reasonable price. It's like $150. It's a caricature of you, but it's 3D. It's sort of like getting a... I didn't know they made a custom plush toy. Just hang out with your other dogs, Toxic. I've been hanging around with Gus. Sometimes I call him Ike for some reason. Your alarm went off. I gotta put some clothes on and go work the dogs. Question is, who's first? The clients, of course, Lutzi is first. I think I'll use a starter pistol with Lutzi. See how he does doing that. Maybe I'll live stream it. I don't know. It's so miserable out. Sounds real windy and it's cold tomorrow. And then the next day, I can't wait. This whole week, it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be great. Right, Sam? I gotta get his fan going. I turned it off for the winter, because when the fan's going and there's air movement on the panes of glass, you know, cold means warm, it sweats, and then you get a big, you know, sheet of ice on the windows. So you don't really need it. I have to do something with this floor. I was actually gonna talk to my friend, Wood Boy, about doing something with this floor. I think, you know, if you want to do something, you have to think about it sometimes, especially if it's sort of technical. Like, you don't want to just rush into it, because I don't have a lot of money to spend. I want to make sure it's done right, and I don't want to have to work more than I need to. I don't want to have to redo anything. So with Sam's floor, I was originally going to they have this leveling product that is concrete, but this is the second floor. You know, I guess I could bring a hose up here, and it just, I think what I'm gonna do, this is what I think, because I remember Mike saying something like this. This is what he did, was he took furring strips and he put them on over the floor, right? Because you want it level. And then over the furring strips, he put plywood, just to make the floor as level as possible before he put down his new floor. So furring strip and plywood's gonna add that much to the floor, and then so it's gonna be this much higher, but I think that's probably the way to do it, because I feel more comfortable with it, working with wood and just like taking my time, using a level, putting a shim wherever I need it, and just making everything as level as possible. That's my idea. And then I don't know, put something down that would be easier to clean up. Almost broke the garage door last night because he was messing with the manual door, so I had to help him fix it, because you're a genius. Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. I have said this at the beginning of the thing. I did not listen to, I won't join his Telegram thing, and I won't join the Telegram thing because its security is terrible. The chat, be careful on that platform. It's not YouTube, okay? That's not YouTube. It's Russian. It was a Russian dude owns it. So I'd be real careful. I don't want to sound paranoid, but I was already my channel was hijacked by Russians trying to sell Bitcoin this year. So it was, I was real broke, and, they were offering like a deal to, sell stuff, and I think that's how it happened. It was real convincing, I'll tell you that. Telegram was crappy. I only have it because I have an art friend I talk to on there. I'm careful. I solely use it to keep tabs on Ukrainians and Russians I know personally. I just am not going to go on that platform. There's no way, man. I don't think it's safe. At least TikTok, your shit is stored off China mainland, you know. TikTok's terrible though. You make money on that platform, you get kicked off that platform, they keep your money. They kept $600 of mine. $600. I was doing great. I had like 55,000 followers in like 45 days. It was going great. People loved it when I'd go to Walmart. I'd see the My Pillow guy's pillow. I'd say, see this? It's my pillow. This company's owned by some right-wing dickhead. I'm gonna go over there and take a dump on it. That was the TikTok, stuff like that. Real quick. They loved it. The last thing that I did that got me kicked off, it was bikers versus Destiny would remember. Like maybe Harley riders versus something. So that was against the rules because I was like, it's ridiculous, you know. I believe it. I wasn't about to open an account on TikTok and not get paid. I wasn't going to deal with that. And by the way, the troll activity on that account was absurd. It was a lot of kids doing the same shit. It was just, I couldn't deal with it. I did deal with it, but it was absurd. It was ridiculous. It was like every day because I was getting a lot of traffic, man. I was getting a lot of traffic. But it was mostly kids just, aren't I funny? Like saying really horrible shit about me. You know, so what? I hang out with somebody that's 21, big deal. What am I supposed to do? It's an adult. That's what it says. She's an adult. Hi, Sam. Sam's got my cane. Any tips on dog training for you? Yeah, don't get a dog. Because you're looking for free tips. Just a general tip. That's my general tip for you. Don't get a dog because you're not going to know what to do. Seriously. You're looking for a free tip. That's like the person that when I was on Tasho, that like a bunch of people like friended me on Facebook. Like it was like they thought that like their dog is going to be better behaved because peripherally, you know, they were my friend on Facebook. That's the impression I got. Like, dog training's hard work. It's cold out. I don't want to go out there today, but I'm going to have to. Hang on. I get more likes on my reels too. I got over 500 likes recently. I don't understand why. But it did. No, he's a hunting dog. What's that have to do with anything? Toxic. Is there some reason, man? Do I follow you on Instagram? I'm thinking that do I? I'm not seeing these reels. I should be. We communicate on Instagram. No, I don't. Are you shitting me? Hysterical. God. What about PL? Do I follow PL? You follow on. Do I follow PL? You follow my second account. Do I? Do I follow PL? I gotta look. Maybe we just Yes, you do. Yeah, she doesn't put anything on there, I don't think. She just uses it to communicate with. So what's your main account? I'm following your secondary account? I'll look for it. I'll look for it. I'll find you. I'll follow the one that you use. Sam's fucking with my fucking cane. Here, get up here, Sam. Get on, dude. Get on. You're such a dick. Don't, man. That's my rubber stomper. The one I talked to you with is the main account. Okay, so, and I follow that one? That's good. I gotta go do some shit. I did this for an hour. No, I don't. Oh. No, it's not. Oh, okay. Well, I'll follow the other one. Alright, I gotta go do some shit. Let me figure some shit out. I'll probably live stream dog training. I'll see y'all. Thanks, everybody.